Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of Today's Youth. And today we're delighted to be joined by Mohamed Salem. He's a student of computer science and he attended an exchange program during his high school years. He will tell us more about this very interesting experience. Thank you very much for joining us, Mohamed.
Hello, Naveen. Hello.
Hello. Tell me, you're now studying computer science here in Egypt. I will first start by why did you choose this major field of study?
Actually, computer science was not my first choice. When I was younger, I was thinking about going into engineering, but I found out that computer science has a lot more potential.
Okay.
There are a lot of fields, a lot of sectors I can work in. And so I thought that me being a person who has very many interests, I can't find myself interested in just like one thing at a time. I thought that computer science would be a pretty good fit for me.
It can be beneficial in all fields, computer science.
Exactly.
Tell me, what are you studying in computer science? What are the major studies, major subjects you're studying?
I'm a third-year student. So right now I'm studying database management, a little bit of that, a little bit about operating systems, and also machine learning and artificial intelligence, which is obviously a pretty big headliner nowadays.
That's true. And I would like you to tell me more about artificial intelligence, but later on. I will now go to your exchange year abroad, which is a very, very important turning point in your life.
Of course, yeah.
Tell me more about this year. You went to the United States. You studied there in the high school. It was not your last year in high school. It was the year previous, right? And then you came here, you continued the last year of high school, right? Okay, tell me more about this program. How did you benefit on the personal, cultural, and academic levels?
Of course. My exchange program started when I was in my first year of high school. I heard an ad about it from, or not an ad so much as I heard about it from a friend, and I thought it would be very interesting, and so I started with the application process. And so by the time I was in my second year of high school, I had passed through all the processes, and I was being prepped to go to spend a year. It was supposed to be a year, but unfortunately it was cut short because of the coronavirus pandemic.
When you were there, the coronavirus started.
Yes, it started.
So you had to come back earlier.
Yes, I traveled in 2019, August of 2019, and the pandemic started early 2020.
But you continued your academic year over there.
Unfortunately, I did not. But the thing about my program is that it's the Kennedy Lugar Youth Exchange and Study Program. So the focus is cultural enrichment.
Right.
So the top three pillars of the program are like staying with a host family. That's number one. Number two is attending an American high school. And number three is having friends and forging friendships. Right.
Let's take every one of those and talk about it.
Of course.
Being hosted by an American family, how was that?
At first it was very new to me. A totally different lifestyle. They don't even have they don't have the same number of meals as we do, so that was something I had to get used to. They ate at different times in the morning, they ate at different times in the night, and that was just the beginning for me.
How many times do we eat? Twice a day?
3 times a day.
3 times a day, and here we eat 3 times a day.
We do, but it's all at different times. Their biggest meal is at the very end of the night, so maybe
dinner.
At 10.
Dinner.
At 10 at night, yeah, dinner.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the main. But they have breakfast in the morning and then lunch?
And then lunch. Lunch is a very, very small meal.
Snack.
Exactly.
What about the breakfast?
The breakfast? They eat a lot of bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I couldn't.
How did you manage your life with an American family? And that was your first time to travel abroad, right?
Yeah. I'd visited London before.
Yeah.
But it was definitely my first major experience abroad.
How was it with the family on the cultural level, for example, on the social level, which is most important?
Families could be all sorts of structures. I have friends who stayed with very large families. For me personally, I'd always stayed with a small family. They were both old in age a little bit, but they were very friendly.
Yeah.
They were very friendly.
Did they have children your age?
No, they did not.
No.
All their children were
married and outside.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And how was your time at school there, at an American school, at an American high school,
Exactly.
which is totally different than here?
Exactly. It was my favorite part of my experience, honestly. It was where I discovered myself. I made new friends. I met new people. The teachers there are very different. School there takes a much bigger part of students' life than it does here. Mm-hmm. There you participate in extracurricular activities, in clubs, in teams. There are teams that you compete with other schools all the time. Mm-hmm. And so this was a very big turning point. I participated in mock trial. Mm-hmm. And we went to a real courthouse for the competition, and we sat in front of judges to present a case. That was mock trial. I also participated in debate, where my team and I would make arguments and practice them, and then have structured arguments in front of judges too.
That was your first time to learn presentation and debate skills, right?
Actually, since it's a cultural exchange program, and I'm a youth ambassador for Egypt abroad. In my time preparing to travel, I was taught presentation skills right before I traveled, and so that's when that also developed for me.
Right. We're going to come to this specific point again right after the show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again with my guest, Mohamed. Mohamed, we were talking about your stay at a family in the U.S., in Utah, which is one of the United States. And you were staying in a very, very small city over there.
Yes.
Going from Egypt and Cairo, which is a very big city, and to a small city, living in a small city, I think very, very quiet.
Yes, very, very quiet. The population was only 3,000 by the time I was there.
Okay.
So it was quite a shock for me. I couldn't stay out late anymore. It would be dark.
Was it dangerous?
It was not dangerous, no. But it's because there is just, you can't stay outside. There aren't stores open. There aren't lights.
Everything close by 7 or 8?
Yeah, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And so,
how did you make this adaptation from being in a very lively city like Cairo to moving to a very, very quiet city in a quiet state also? Utah is one of the quiet states. It's not like New York or California. I mean, it's very, very quiet. So how did you adapt to this different environment?
It was my friends. My friends helped me make that adjustment. I started spending time with them and learned from their lifestyle. When they would hang out, what would they do after school, stuff like that. Mm.
Right. Talking about your activities at school, you attended the International Education Week, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me more about this experience.
So, International Education Week is a big event for exchange students and volunteers all over the world. And so for my program, I was required to give a presentation about Egypt to a part of my community in Utah. Mm-hmm. Mm. And so during International Education Week, I gathered a few of my friends from school and my neighbors and their parents, and I gave them a presentation about Egypt and what life is like there. Mm-hmm. They learned a lot. Fun fact, they thought that Egypt was just desert and that people here ride camels and things like that. But they were shocked to find out that Egypt and Cairo specifically, is quite a big city, much bigger than any city in Utah.
And they're so advanced. I mean, it's
that's true. Yeah.
When it comes even to digital transformation, I think maybe we're more advanced here.
Oh yeah. We're advancing quite a bit fast.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Tell me more about your school subjects. What did you take at school different from the school subjects here? Because I know they have totally different curriculums.
Yeah, indeed. One of the most fun classes I took was welding, where a teacher, like a practiced welder, would teach us in the ways of welding metals and how to cut metal and weld it together to make useful things. There was a little bit of a project for that course, and we ended up making a rocket stove.
Wow.
To grill like burgers on it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Very
right. What other classes? Did you take a cooking class?
Yes, foods and nutrition. The classroom was actually a kitchen, a very big kitchen with a lot of stoves and sinks for all the students there. And so we'd learn about health and nutrition, of course, and then we'd practice making meals and cooking and skills like cutting food and cooking it in the oven or correctly using the microwave.
Right.
Another class, for example, was Spanish.
Spanish, because Spanish is very, very important in the United States.
Yeah.
It's the second language. Here we have the French as the second language, but they have the Spanish.
The Spanish, yeah.
Right.
And there were a lot of Mexican immigrants.
They have a very big Spanish-speaking community because they go from South America, from Mexico, Argentina, so they all speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So you learn Spanish.
That's what started my interest in Spanish, and I'm still learning it nowadays.
You're learning, continuing here.
Yes.
Right.
And so now I have Mexican and Spanish friends, and during Spanish class is when I started practicing it and got my interest in it. And fun fact about Spanish is my Spanish teacher there had visited Cairo and Egypt before, and so it was a very fun experience connecting with him.
Right. You told me also that you had a mock trial.
Yeah.
At school.
That was my favorite extracurricular activity there. Mock trial club is when my teammates and I would prepare legal cases. And so we'd prepare them. Some of us would be playing the roles of lawyers, others would be playing the roles of witnesses. And so we go to a real courthouse and then present the case in front of judges from either viewpoint. One time we'd be the affirmative, one time we'd be the negative.
Right. On the cultural level, how did you benefit?
That was probably the biggest change in my life. I discovered a whole new part of myself, and I really learned what life in America was like. They tell us it's not like how we see it in the movies or how it's portrayed in media, but you never really realize how different it is. And the second part of this was coming back and adjusting to Egypt.
Yes.
Back to Egypt, the culture shock, and then telling my Egyptian community here in Cairo about what life in America is like.
Right. Mohamed, we're going to go to this short break and we'll be right back to continue our discussion. Welcome back, and once again with my guest, Mohamed Salem. Mohamed had a very unique experience in the United States studying during his high school years. He's telling us more about this experience and how did it have a positive effect on the development of his personality. Mohamed, you also told me that you're studying abroad and living abroad with an American family. It was a unique experience that led also to being enthusiastic about knowing people, more people from different cultures, and being eager to learn more languages.
Yeah, exactly. One of the perks in America is that there are a lot of different people. It started first with the Hispanic community. I've made some Mexican and Spanish friends during my time there. But since I was part of an organization, a lot of other students from other parts of the world were also there in Utah during my time. And so by the time I left, I had friends in Italy, in Bulgaria, I had friends in Indonesia and Japan. And so I realized that this was really a part of me that thrived and I really enjoyed it. And so I started realizing that I want to be able to communicate with people all over the globe, wherever I go. And it started, I had been learning French before I went to the United States, but then by the time I went back, I realized it was something that I wanted to pursue even more. And I started learning more languages. Right now, I'm learning German and Dutch.
Mm-hmm. Right. Overall, tell me, how was your overall experience in the United States?
I would have to say it was the flagship experience in my life so far. Before it, I was a person. After it, I'm a completely different person. It changed my life completely.
To the better?
Absolutely.
You learned more experiences, you met different people. Were your dreams different? I mean, you had definitely dreams for the future before going and after. Tell me before and after.
I would have to say that the change that happened to my dreams is that they expanded. I realized just how much there is of the world there is to see. Before then, I had hopes of just having a job, possibly as an engineer. Now I realize that I would much rather value a job where I would interact with people from different places, I would travel, things like that.
Right. Did you follow the youth forums, international youth forums that took place here in Egypt, gathering youth from different countries all over the world here in Egypt to meet and exchange experiences?
A little bit. We were also following some about COP27.
Yeah.
Exactly, the summit in Sharm el-Sheikh.
That was in Sharm el-Sheikh, yes.
Yes.
In November 2022.
It was, in November, exactly, last year.
Yeah.
I was encouraged to participate in it, but unfortunately I was busy with school at the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to give it any attention, unfortunately.
Right. Well, Mohamed, I wish you all the best of luck, and I would like to thank you so much for joining us today at today's Youth, and I wish you all the best of luck. The
pleasure was all mine, Naveen. Thank you.
My pleasure also. Dear viewers, that brings us to the end of this edition of Today's Youth. Don't forget to join us next week, same time. Today's goodbye.